After reading 11 books on focus, coaching almost 50 plus entrepreneurs to get into a flow state for more than 6 hours every single day, I've realized there's only 3 things that need to be done that can turn practically anyone into a focus machine regardless of how bad your productivity is right now. And this is not about deep work or atomic habits, this is things you've probably never heard before, and it's the 3 things all my clients did to completely change their focus and actually make money online. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time, I'm just going to get straight into the source. You see, most entrepreneurs have the wrong definition of what focus is. They think it's sitting at the desk for 4 hours every single day completing this super focused work and then just taking a nap, right? Or finding this focus music that's going to completely shift their productivity. Focus can be defined as when all your mental resources, basically your attentional space, which is kind of like the space that holds your maximum attention, is focused on one task or one activity at a time. This basically allows us to get into this deep concentration state where we're in the present moment, and when you're in the present moment you connect yourself with the task, and that's what allows you to focus like a madman. Some people can define this as like you're in this timelessness state where hours feel like they go by minutes, and that is exactly what happens. And if we can get into this focus flow state for 6+ hours a day, imagine how much progress you can make in your business as an entrepreneur. It's absolutely nuts. So the first thing that really changed my focus and allowed all these entrepreneurs that I worked with to really get into this focus flow state is working in the first 5 to 15 minutes as soon as you wake up. And I know that's completely crazy. All these big gurus have told you to have all these morning routines, like do 50 push-ups as soon as you wake up, then go in a cold shower, and then have like a big bowl of like cereal. But the thing is, that does not work. By the time you finish that morning routine, half of your focus has already gone out the window anyway. So when you go to sit down to actually do your deep work for your business, you can't focus at all. And that's why you constantly switch like your music playlist, that's why you constantly check on school, that's why you constantly just go on your phone, right? But the most productive days I've ever had in my life is as soon as I roll out of bed, I go and brush my teeth, I go and wash my face and stuff like that, do all the essential things, right? And then as soon as I do that, I just get straight to work. I find the biggest and most important tasks that I've done, that I basically set from the to-do list I've done the night before, and I just get to work, right? That is when I've been the most productive. Because the thing is, when you're still in that REM sleep phase, where you're basically half asleep, and when you're still in that state you go to work, you wake up in this productive state. Your brain is literally working as soon as you wake up, and that is how you stay productive the entire day. Because if there's one thing I've learned, is your morning is always going to reflect the entire day. If you scroll for the first 15 minutes in the day, you're going to be scrolling like a madman throughout the entire day you're awake. But if you work as soon as you wake up, you're going to be working basically the entire day. And I know this to be true because I've done it every single day, and that's exactly how I can focus for 6+ hours every single day on my business, and that's exactly how I've helped all these people do the same. So your first actionable step, and I know you're going to really hate doing this because you've been told to do this big morning routine, right? But what I want you to do is as soon as you wake up, don't do these habits, simply just move them to later in the day, right? So you can do your cold shower after you've done your work. But I want you to just get straight to work as soon as you wake up. You just need to trust me on this because this is the one thing that completely changed my focus forever. Now the second thing I did to really improve my focus after reading these 11 books is removing every single external distraction in my life. And I know you've already heard this before, you've heard people say remove the distractions, but most people say it so vaguely that you don't know what the hell that means. What does it mean remove your distractions? How do you know what's distracting you? And this is what I'm going to show you exactly how to do right now. You see, there's at least a few things that every single time you sit down to focus are always going to go in your attentional space, and therefore they're going to distract you. Maybe for you this is YouTube, maybe this is going on your phone, maybe this is just looking at the window or randomly shadow boxing in a room like I do. That used to be a big distraction for me. But the first thing you need to do is be clear and get this clarity on what these distractions are and why you actually do them. So a big distraction cause for me was when I was doing a task and it was too complex for me to complete, I would just get distracted, right? Or maybe something was just loading on my screen, I would get distracted. I'll just get up, randomly start shadowboxing, and then 10 minutes later get back to work. Or maybe I'll just load up my phone, but the point is I knew exactly why that happened. So then I could put procedures in place that would stop me from doing these things. I could make the task much easier to complete, and then it was not that complex, or I could make things just a lot more easier to do. But that's basically half the work already, because it's pretty easy to get rid of the distractions. Like, you already know, bro, if you want to not get distracted by your phone, like scrolling every 5 minutes, you need to just throw it out the window. You need to ask someone in your family or someone nearby to just have your phone while you work. And the thing is, you need to realize your brain will really try to convince you not to remove the distraction, because it's simply an addiction. Every single time I wanted to like put my phone on grayscale, for example, or I wanted to delete Instagram, because my brain would miss out on all the dopamine, right? But the one thing that really changed that for me is really just prioritizing what mattered. Like, of course, Instagram, bro, scrolling on reels is is not going to get you to 10k per month. It's not going to make you successful in your business. So cut it out, bro. If it makes it even easier right now, I'm literally just going to give you a couple of seconds to just remove that distraction. Like if you have your phone right now, throw it out the window, put it outside your room, so when you go to work after this video, you're not going to get distracted. But the point is to actually remove these distractions. It's just make sure the distractions you face are just hard enough to get onto, because your brain is always going to take the path of least resistance. So when you go to work and you find that the distractions are really hard to get onto, you'll find that you don't go onto them. You'll find that the work is much more stimulating. It's much more easier to stay consistent, right? And that's what we want to do. Now we're going to move on to the final lesson, and I'm sure if you literally just do these two things anyway, this will really improve your focus. But this final one is something you can do every single day. It's a set of habits that you can do every single day that will completely change your focus. You see, what most entrepreneurs do is when they go to focus or try to and realize they can't actually focus, is they start to complain. They whine about it, saying, oh yeah, I'm just gonna have this for the rest of my life. I'm not gonna be able to become successful because my focus sucks, right? But the thing is, it is actually a learnable skill. So I myself went from being able to focus for 5 minutes at a time to being able to get into a flow state for 6+ hours every single day. Look, I'm literally just going to pull up my Rise software right now and I can show you how hard I was working yesterday. So I'll literally just show you right now, bro. Look at this, okay? So this is the Sigma Grind Hustle goal, and this is basically every single day. So yesterday I was literally working 8 hours. The day before I was working 8, and you can see I even worked like 11 hours, but literally 13 hours, bro. I wouldn't recommend doing that. That was like a very busy day. But the reason why there's an X here, by the way, is because I'm actually recording this like very early in the morning, so I've only worked 2 hours, but this is going to be like 7 hours as well. Now there's just 2 things you need to do in a day consistently that will drastically improve your focus, because the goal at the end of the day is not to really just like improve our focus, because that's really vague. It's to increase the size of the attentional space, because when we increase the size of the attentional space, we have more space to work for longer hours, and that's how you go from focusing for 5 minutes to being able to focus for 10 hours, or not really 10 hours, but that's impossible, but focusing for like 4 hours at once, right, without getting distracted. First thing you need to do is meditation. And I know what you're thinking, you've already heard this before, you've tried it for like a month but it didn't work. Trust me, it does take very long to actually see results in this. It took me like 6 months to actually see any noticeable results, and that was doing it every single day for like 20 minutes, alright? Now the bro science of meditation is first sit straight, close your eyes, and focus on the breath. Do a series of deep breaths over like 15 minutes or so. You don't really need to do this, but if you want to feel like Zenyatta from Overwatch, just do it, bro. And what you notice after like 20 seconds, you'll get distracted automatically. You'll think about the person you're talking to, you'll think about school or something, and soon enough you'll become conscious of that distraction. So what you need to do is switch your consciousness back to the breath instead of the distraction, alright? And that is basically 1 repetition of meditation. And if you do that for every single day for 5 minutes, 6 months, you will actually start to increase the size of this attentional space, which is the goal. Now the second habit I did to really improve my focus was actually reading, and it wasn't reading the modern self-improvement books, because those are pretty waffle, you know, most of them just repeat the same things over and over again. But the books I'm talking about is books like these, like Discourses by Epictetus. These are the books that really improve your focus because of the sophisticated language. And what happens is you'll naturally have to focus and put more energy into it, because if you don't, bro, you're just gonna be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? What is Epictetus talking about here, right? So if you just read for like 30 minutes to an hour every single day, that will really change your focus. And that is pretty immediate as well. Like after a week or so, I realized, because my dopamine basically just went straight down to the normal dopamine baseline, I really improved my focus doing that. If you simply just do these 3 things, this is all you need to do to improve your focus. Of course, all these things you hear online can help, but these are like the 80-20 rule, right? The 20% of the things that will give you 80% of the results, alright? And by the way, if you're an entrepreneur who wants to get into a flow state for 6+ hours every single day, completely change your business, have the time to actually make money with your business, but also have the free time to do what you want as well, click the first link in the description to join a bunch of entrepreneurs who are also doing the same. Goodbye, man.